It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 16th of October. I'm Michael Groff. The average high temperature in Phoenix today, 89 degrees. Will be anywhere from 8 to 12 degrees below that this afternoon. Now, temperatures will warm up as we head into the weekend, with afternoon highs going to near or maybe even above seasonal averages. But then next week, some forecast uncertainty comes into the mix, and could we see some unsettled weather across Arizona? Maybe some showers, at least over parts of the state, maybe here in the valley. We'll talk about that, plus everything else going on in the weather world as we dive on in and discuss. First, the almanac from yesterday. 79 degrees the afternoon high, 66 was the low. Now that's at Sky Harbor. Many of you were much cooler than that, with several spots down in the 50s. 90 and 66 are the averages for this time of year. 103 degrees, that record high from 1991, which was a pretty hot October in its own right, although nothing in comparison to what we've had in recent years. Looking outside right now, here at 11 o'clock, we've got some sun. Lots of it out there, in fact, clear sky. We're sitting at 72 degrees at Sky Harbor. Dew point's 46, humidity 41%. The winds are light and the barometer is steady. Satellite picture out here across the west, and we put this in motion for you. You can see what's been going on. That trough of low pressure that brought in the cooler weather over the last couple of days, that's now lifting out into the plain states and weakening. And as a result, the upper level heights are beginning to rise, and so temperatures will begin to increase over the next few days. We'll see afternoon highs getting back to around seasonal averages. The watch warning map, not a lot of high impact events ongoing across the country. A few scattered freeze warnings in the northeast and out here in the Intermountain West. But other than that, not a lot going on right now. Convective outlook for today, just a little sliver of a marginal risk, that level 1 out of 5 for severe storms over parts of Kansas and Nebraska. Some thunder across the plains, and that's about it. Tropics in the Atlantic Basin, dead quiet. Yes, we are still in hurricane season, mid-October. It is not uncommon to see at least one tropical storm or hurricane on the board someplace, and yet there is nothing and no sign that we'll see anything, at least for a little while. In the East Pacific, we do have this area of disturbed weather that's off the Mexican coast with a 50-50 chance of developing over the next 2 days and a 60% probability of developing into a tropical depression or storm over the next 7 days. And where that goes, well, that system is right now titled Invest 91E. It's a very catchy name, and it's looks like at least most of the tropical models here in the set, the ATCF set, bring this out to the west, and this should stay harmlessly away from us here in the southwest. I know many of you are hoping for another tropical cyclone to come up here and give us some more rain. That would be great. It's probably not going to happen. But what do we do around here? We always keep our eye on what's going on down in the tropics, especially this time of year, especially this season, right? Here's the precipitation outlook valid through Thursday morning of next week from the WPC. Rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing. Statewide, nothing. Region-wide, not much. Quiet weather, which is what we often see in October. It's usually not what we had in the early part of this month. In fact, typically this post-monsoonal time of year is very quiet. But, you know, the old saying, when it rains, it pours, and that's kind of how I would describe October weather in Phoenix in general. And that's what we'll see. Pretty typical stuff for a while, but there's a little caveat I'm going to throw in here that by the middle of next week, there is forecast uncertainty, and we'll talk about that here as we get to the models right now, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 12Z run. This is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. Big trough off the east coast. We got a ridge between that and this trough that's lifting out of the west into the northern plain states. Still, negative height anomalies persist here over the southwest. So what that means for us down at the surface for the rest of the day today, yeah, we're looking at sunny sky, high temperatures, upper 70s to about 80 degrees. And that is, well, if we hit 80 this afternoon, that'd be about 9 degrees below average in Phoenix. For tonight, the sky is clear, the air is dry, so overnight lows will be in the 50s for most of us, maybe near 60 in the urban core. And then for tomorrow, sunny, a little bit warmer, low to mid 80s for the high. Same thing on Saturday, low to mid 80s, mid to upper 80s on Sunday with sunny sky across the area. And I suppose the hottest desert spots could even flirt with 90 degrees. And as I told you, I don't quite think we're done with 90s in Phoenix, but even if we don't make 90, what's the difference? 89, 90, it feels very much the same, but still much preferred over 100 or 105, right? Let's go to Monday. High temperatures still somewhere in the mid, possibly upper 80s. We'll nudge temperatures down a degree or two here, and maybe another degree or two of cooling on Tuesday with some increase in clouds. But where the uncertainty in our forecast comes in is out at this point. The GFS has a piece of energy breaking away from this trough that's lifting into the northern plains and forming into an upper low over the weekend. And the evolution of that upper low, well, that'll be very interesting here as we get into next week. And the old saying, a closed low is a weatherman's woe, and that's going to certainly be the case for this system because the GFS does have it moving east and toward Southern California and Arizona by about Wednesday of next week. But as you can see here, it doesn't really show much of anything, maybe a couple of showers across the higher terrain of northern Arizona. But for us, it would just bring some clouds around here. However, the European is much wetter with this, at least some of the members in the European ensemble. And when I say much wetter, nothing like what we saw last week, right, or over the weekend. But at least some precipitation would be possible over southern Arizona, including the valley, if the wetter European and European AI ensembles kind of work out here. At least maybe 1/10 of an inch of rain out of something like that. But at this point, we're going to keep the forecast dry as there's just not any clear and convincing evidence one way or the other for how this will play out. We'll obviously keep an eye on that. But if it does tap into some deeper tropical moisture, that could make for a more interesting forecast for sure. This is a week from today, Thursday, the 23rd. And again, that weak upper low is just now kind of sitting to the west of us, and there's not much left to that. Again, maybe a few clouds and temperatures would be down slightly from where they were, but I'd still say high temperatures are in the low, maybe mid 80s. This is Friday, the 24th. And again, we're dry with a positively tilted little short wave trying to come our way, and a broader trough over the Northeast Pacific that we're going to watch. In fact, maybe a couple of troughs kind of carving out over the Pacific Northwest, and a broader low over the Gulf of Alaska and further to the north and west from there. And we'll see how that plays out. But for now, temperatures would be at or maybe just a shade above seasonal averages going out 10 days. This is Saturday, the 25th. And look at that monster of a trough that's off the Pacific Northwest coast. Goodness. That is a mighty cold system, and that would bring plenty of unsettled weather to the Pacific Northwest. And around here, a little wave is kind of moving in, and yeah, we could see an increase in clouds and slightly cooler temperatures from that, but no real chance of precipitation. So the GFS, kind of the TLDR version of this, is the GFS says dry with some variance in temperatures, but that's about it. GFS ensemble looking out for precipitation here over the next couple of weeks. This goes out through the 30th of the month, and the ensemble mean here, yeah, it's very low. About 1/10 of an inch. European ensemble, not much better here. And even the European AI ensemble, slightly higher amounts, at least especially from the control member and some of the individual members. And again, there are a few more that show some precipitation with this little upper low next week. But even at that, I mean, what are we talking here? A few hundredths, maybe 1/10, 12 hundredths, 15 hundredths of an inch. Nothing overly substantial. Now, obviously, those kind of upper lows, we always keep an eye on them, and we'll watch the tropics and how they play out. But at this point, we don't see any widespread significant rain event coming our way anytime soon. All right, looking at temperatures off the national blend of models. Yeah, it's going to get warm this weekend. You knew we weren't done with the warmth, right? I mean, this is still October after all. Highs are going to get well up into the 80s and approach 90, but then cool off a little bit as we go into next week. Those overnight lows are still very manageable in the 60s, and that's at Sky Harbor. Most mornings now, and that's kind of how it is this time of year, most mornings for many spots away from the urban core will be down in the 50s and maybe low 60s, and that's going to feel tremendous. All right, let's see. Did I put the CPC outlook in here? I did. This is the Climate Prediction Center outlook for the 8 to 14-day period, October 23rd through the 29th. If this is correct, probabilities are skewed toward above average temperatures here in Arizona, with precipitation skewed, well, not skewed, just in favor of near average precipitation. Obviously favoring well above average precipitation over the Pacific Northwest, as many of our models show some very impressive troughing and much cooler temperatures up there. And hopefully that ultimately translates to cooler weather down here by the very end of the month, which often is the case. You know, most people will tell you in Phoenix, Halloween is the turning point for the weather around here. And we've already kind of seen that turning point, but maybe we'll have another one right around the very end of the month. And that is going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here on these videos, you want to support the channel, click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube. Make a contribution to us that way or via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. And our Venmo, it's also linked up down in the description as well, so take advantage of that. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Kylie related, Adriana related. It's all linked up down in the description below, so check that out. Also, our streaming station available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun over there, so do check that out. I want you to check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. And hey, if you want to see more of me, you just can't get enough Mike in your life, and who can't, right? Yeah, sure. Why don't you go check me out over there on the Courtroom Files YouTube channel tonight, 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific in Arizona time, because I'll be there on Sidebar. It's not really about me. It's about everybody else. But, you know, I am there. I guess, what am I? I'm the comic relief. I'm certainly not the eye candy of the show. That's for sure. But check me out. No, seriously, check me out over there tonight, 8 East, 5 Pacific for Sidebar. It's going to be a great time, great discussion, great fun. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and all of your continued support. It's amazing. It is so greatly appreciated. And you guys have been sensational this month and always, really. But you've really stepped up your game lately, and I am ever so appreciative for all of you. Thanks again. Be safe out there and have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Thursday.